You have been lied to. A lie so vast and so pervasive that you breathe it in with the air, you drink it with the water, and you read it on the glowing screens you stare at every day. A lie whispered to you since birth that has now become the sound of your own inner voice. The lie is simple. The purpose of life is to be happy. And you believed it. You believed it with every fiber of your being, which is why you participate in the great happiness chase. You play by the unwritten rules. You follow the right path, get the degree, land the good job, sell hours of your life to buy things you were promised would fill the hole inside. You maintain relationships that drain your spirit just to escape the terrifying silence of being alone. You perform a curated spectacle of a perfect life, all for the likes and validation of strangers you will never meet. You seek comfort, you seek pleasure, you seek the absence of pain. You do everything you can to avoid any and all resistance or friction in your life. But in the quiet moments, when the party is over, when the phone screen goes dark and the only thing left is the low hum of your own breathing in the room, you feel it, don't you? A cold hollowness, a dull echo at the center of your being. It's not sadness, it's deeper than that. It is the horrifying realization that despite all the effort, despite all the checklists you've completed, you are not getting stronger. You are only getting more distracted. You are not becoming more courageous, only more numb. You are a ship without a rudder, adrift in a calm but endless ocean of shallow pleasures with no shore in sight. So, you ask yourself, why? Why, when you live with more comfort than any king in history, do you feel more fragile than ever? Why did following your passion lead you to burnout and disillusionment? Why did achieving the goals you swore would make you happy, that promotion, that relationship, that trip, satisfy you for a fleeting moment, only to leave you feeling emptier than before? Perhaps, just perhaps, the problem is not with the answers you found. Perhaps the problem is the question itself. Perhaps you have been digging for treasure in the wrong cave all along. Over a century ago, a German philosopher with a formidable mustache diagnosed this very sickness of the modern soul, and he offered a truth that is as brutal as it is profoundly liberating, a truth that will turn your entire quest upside down.
That philosopher was Friedrich Nietzsche. And to understand his shocking solution, you must first grasp his brutal diagnosis of his time and of ours. Nietzsche was no dusty academic. He was a physician of culture, a specialist who took the pulse of Western civilization and declared the patient to be dying. His most famous diagnosis was this: God is dead. This was not a triumphant cry of atheism. It was a cry of mourning. For centuries, Nietzsche knew, the framework of religion had given humanity meaning, purpose, and a clear moral compass. With its collapse, humanity became a cosmic orphan, adrift in a vacuum of values. That hollowness you feel in the dead of night is the echo of this vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and into the empty space left by a dead god, a new, weaker idol rushed in, the god of comfort, the goddess of happiness. No longer striving for salvation or transcendence, humanity began to worship a far lesser goal: to feel good, to avoid pain. This, for Nietzsche, was the beginning of a profound decline, a slide toward what he called the last man, a pathetic preacher who seeks only warmth and security, who takes no risks, who no longer despises himself, and whose only satisfaction is to blink stupidly at the world. But Nietzsche was not just a diagnostician. He offered a cure, an alternative path, a concept so powerful and so dangerous that it is often misunderstood, either by intention or by ignorance. That concept is the will to power. Let's be perfectly clear here. This phrase is perhaps the most maligned and misinterpreted idea in the entire history of philosophy. When you hear it, your mind may leap to dictators, to tyranny, to the ruthless domination of others. This is a toxic, false caricature promoted by those who were terrified of the true implications of Nietzsche's philosophy. The will to power at its core has nothing to do with ruling over others. It has everything to do with ruling over yourself. For Nietzsche, the will to power is the most fundamental, primal driving force in all of existence. It is not just a human desire. It is the essence of life itself. A tree root that cracks solid concrete to reach water is expressing its will to power. An eagle chick that leaps from the nest, forcing its wings to work for the first time, is manifesting its will to power. It is the will to grow, the will to overcome, the will to expand, to become stronger, to go beyond its current state. It is an active, overflowing force that constantly seeks to discharge its strength by overcoming resistance.
Now, compare this to the search for happiness. The search for happiness is fundamentally passive. It is a search for a state of equilibrium, of calm, of a lack of tension. It is a flight from resistance. The will to power, however, is active. It does not flee from tension. It actively seeks resistance to overcome it, because it is only in the act of overcoming resistance that true growth can ever occur. Happiness, as we commonly understand it, is not the goal. It is a byproduct. Happiness is the fleeting feeling you experience after a hard struggle, after overcoming a great challenge, after you have pushed yourself beyond your previous limits. To chase happiness directly is like trying to capture smoke in your hands. It's a ghostly, meaningless pursuit. But if you instead seek power, power over your own impulses, power over your bad habits, power to create instead of consume, then happiness will visit you from time to time as a natural reward. But it will no longer be your goal. You will not be dependent on it. This understanding leads us to Nietzsche's ultimate ideal, the Overman, the Übermensch. The Overman is the living embodiment of the will to power. He is not someone who finds the meaning of life. He is someone who creates meaning. He does not blindly accept society's values. He writes his own table of values. He does not flee from suffering. He uses it as a hammer to forge himself. The Overman is not the happy man. He is the powerful man in the ultimate sense, the master of his own inner domain. And this ultimate mastery culminates in one final Nietzschean principle: amor fati, the love of fate. This means to not just accept everything that happens in your life, the good, the bad, the triumphant, the tragic, but to love it, to wish for nothing to be different. Instead of longing for another life, an easier life, a happier life, you say a wholehearted yes to this one. You say, this was my life, with all its hardship, and I would choose to live it again and again for all eternity in exactly the same way. Why? Because every obstacle, every failure, every moment of pain was an opportunity to exert the will to power, an opportunity to become stronger. This is the brutal and liberating truth. The universe is indifferent to your happiness, but it offers you an infinite arena to express your power. The key to escaping the void is to abandon the childish search for happiness and begin the mature quest for inner power.
Philosophy without action is mental masturbation.
Beautiful words that hang in the air and change nothing are worthless. Now that we have diagnosed the sickness and identified the key, it is time to put that key in the lock and turn it. It is time to bring the will to power down from the abstract heavens and onto the hard, concrete earth of your daily life. This will not be easy. This path is not for the weak or the faint of heart. It is a complete paradigm shift. To aid you on this journey, here are 7 practical commandments. These are the laws for rewriting the operating code of your soul. Do not treat them as suggestions. Treat them as the directives for building a more powerful self. Commandment 1. Hunt resistance, not comfort. Modern society has conditioned you to seek the path of least resistance, the elevator instead of the stairs, fast food instead of cooking, shallow entertainment instead of deep study. This is the wide, smooth road to weakness and meaninglessness. Starting today, you will consciously choose the opposite path. You will become a resistance hunter. What does this mean? At work, when faced with 2 projects, choose the one that scares you, the one that will force you to learn new skills. At home, instead of turning on the television, pick up the book that challenges your ideas. At the gym, when your body is screaming stop, do 1 more rep. When the alarm clock rings, instead of hitting the snooze button and surrendering to the desire for comfort, you will leap out of bed and command the day. You must understand this fundamental truth. A muscle does not grow at rest. It grows by being torn and repaired. Your character and your will operate on the exact same principle. Every time you reject comfort and embrace hardship, you are performing a repetition for the muscle of your will. You no longer flee from tension, you actively seek it, for you know that within all resistance lies the seed of power. Commandment 2. Create your values, don't inherit them. You were born with a pre-installed operating system, a set of values injected into you by your parents, your schools, the media, and your culture. Success means money and status. A good life means marriage, a house, and 2 children. Beauty is what the magazines say it is. You did not choose these values, you absorbed them. And as long as you live by someone else's values, you will never be your own master. Nietzsche's overman is a creator of values. He dares to say, "This is what I call good. This is what I find worthy." Perform a practical exercise. Take a piece of paper. On one side, write down 10 values you believe society has imposed upon you. Financial security, social popularity, physical appearance, the approval of others. Be honest. Now look at this list. These are your chains. Then burn that piece of paper. This is a symbolic act of liberation. On a new sheet, under the title My Laws, write down 3 to 5 values that you consciously choose as the pillars of your life. Perhaps they are courage in the face of fear, authenticity over conformity, mastery over consumerism, or endless growth over stagnation. This is your new compass. From now on, filter every major decision through these values. This is the first step in transforming from a creature of circumstance into the creator of your destiny. Commandment 3. Master your domain. True power stems from competence. In a world of dabblers and generalists, to go deep in one area is a revolutionary act. You must choose a domain and decide to master it. This domain can be your profession, an art, a craft, a sport, or an intellectual field. Stop being a consumer and become a producer. Instead of watching 100 hours of YouTube videos on woodworking, pick up the tools and build a table. Instead of endlessly reading about entrepreneurship, launch your first product, however flawed. Instead of admiring musicians, pick up an instrument and learn to play, even if it sounds terrible at first. Mastery is the will to power made manifest. It is the process of taking the chaos and formlessness of the world and imposing your will and order upon it. A coder writing an elegant program, a writer organizing words to create a powerful idea, a surgeon making a precise incision to save a life. These are all acts of power in the Nietzschean sense. Competence breeds genuine self-esteem, the kind that radiates from within and requires no external validation. Find your domain and become its king.
Commandment 4. Transmute pain into art. Life is painful. Failure, loss, betrayal, disappointment. These are unavoidable. The weak man is either crushed by his pain or numbs himself with cheap entertainment. The powerful man chooses a third path. He turns his pain into fuel. This process, which psychoanalysts call sublimation, is the alchemy of the soul. Think of the most painful experiences of your life: the broken heart, the humiliating failure, the period of depression. This is your raw material. Instead of burying it, bring it to your workshop table. If you are a writer, write about it. If you are a musician, compose it into a symphony. If you are an entrepreneur, use it as the motivation to build something that solves the problem you experienced. Suffering that is not transformed into meaning is just pointless agony. But suffering that is turned into a poem, a painting, a business, or an act of service becomes transcendent. This act allows you to gain mastery over your own caste. You are no longer the victim of your story. You are its narrator. You take the pain and you forge it into something beautiful or useful. It is one of the most powerful acts a human can perform. You are no longer saying, "Why me?" to fate. You are saying, "Watch me now." Commandment 5. Command your body. There is more wisdom in your body, Nietzsche wrote, than in your deepest philosophy. Self-mastery begins with this vessel of flesh and blood. You cannot hope to command your life if you cannot command your own primal urges. Your body is the first and last kingdom you rule. This is not about vanity. This is about function and discipline. Consciously decide what you put into your body. Instead of surrendering to every craving for sugar and processed food, see it as an opportunity to exert your will. Prioritize your sleep, even when the world tempts you to stay up and consume more. Embrace exercise not as a chore, but as a daily ritual to fortify your will. Hard workouts, cold showers, intermittent fasting, these are not just health trends. They are tools to train your nervous system that you, not your fleeting impulses, are in command. When you can tell your body to jump and it asks how high, that discipline will bleed into every other aspect of your life. A man who has mastered his body has the mindset to master anything.
Commandment 6. Wield the power of no. In our always-on culture, yes is easy, and it is the default. Yes to that party invitation you don't want to attend. Yes to that extra project that pulls you away from your real goals. Yes to every notification, every request, every demand on your time and energy. But every thoughtless yes is a hidden no to something more important. A yes to an hour of mindless scrolling is a no to reading that book. A yes to a toxic relationship is a no to your own peace of mind. Saying no is an act of power. It is a declaration of a boundary. It is a statement that says, my time and energy are valuable and I will allocate them consciously. Saying no is hard. It may disappoint others. It may make you unpopular. But this is the price of sovereignty. Practice it. This week, say no to one thing you would normally say yes to, politely but firmly. Feel the empty space it creates. That space is your new territory. Space for deep work,
for true rest, for pursuing what actually matters to you. One strategic no is more powerful than 1,000 weak-willed yeses. Commandment 7. Embrace purposeful solitude. Modern man is terrified of solitude. He fills the silence with podcasts, music, and endless noise. This flight is a sign of weakness. It is a fear of confronting the self. You must reframe your view of solitude. See it not as an emptiness to be filled, but as a workshop for creation. This is purposeful solitude, time when you deliberately disconnect from the clamor of the world so that you can hear your own voice. Schedule time in your calendar for absolute solitude. No phone, no computer, no distractions. Go for a long walk in nature. Sit in silence and simply observe your thoughts. Take out a journal and have a conversation with yourself. It is in this silence that great ideas are born. It is in this silence that you confront your demons and learn to overcome them. It is in this silence that you can strategize, reassess your course, and realign with your values. Nietzsche wrote, "One must have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." Solitude is the forge where the chaos within is hammered into a star. Do not fear it. Seek it out. It is your holy ground. These 7 commandments are your roadmap out of the barren lands of happiness and into the fertile territory of inner power. It is a lifelong journey, not a quick fix. But with every step you take on this path, you will feel yourself transforming from a leaf in the wind into a mountain. Our journey in this video is coming to an end, but your real journey is just beginning. We have peeled back the layers of our culture's great lie. The truth now stands before you, naked and uncompromising. The search for happiness makes you a slave to circumstance, a slave to the opinions of others, and worst of all, a slave to the fleeting chemical whims of your own brain. It is a path that leads to weakness and dependence. But the quest for power, power over the self, power to create, power to endure the truth, makes you a creator of meaning, a creator of value, and ultimately, a creator of yourself. True power is not control over others. It is the complete and total control over the only kingdom you truly own, your thoughts, your responses, your will. It is the only freedom that matters. Now it is your turn. Enough theory. It is time for a pact. I have one question for you, and I want you to answer it not in the privacy of your mind, but in public. This is not a classroom exercise. This is a declaration. The question is this: starting tomorrow, what is the one resistance you will consciously and deliberately choose to face in order to cultivate your inner power? Is it a difficult conversation you have been avoiding? Is it starting that daunting project you've been procrastinating on? Is it the commitment to wake up 1 hour earlier with no excuses? Is it saying no to a habit or a person that weakens you? Decide. Then go to the comments section and write it down. Record it in the public archive of this channel. Let your words be the digital witnesses to the pact you make with yourself. When you write it, you make it real. And when you have done that, know that this is only the first step. You have now declared war on your external resistance and your internal weakness. But the greatest enemy is often the one we do not know. The most dangerous monster is the one hidden in the dark. To continue this journey, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Until then, stay strong.